Hello, welcome. It's me. It's been so long, but hi. Not in my usual location, but I wanted to make a quick video because I saw Batman 2022, the Batman, I should say, and it was really good. I was really hyped for it. Going in, I saw it with my boyfriend who didn't know like anything going on, and we both had such a good time. And despite the 3 hour pretty much runtime, I think it's like 2 hours and 56 minutes. And it's a lot. There's no end credit scene, so once the credits roll, you're fine. I mean, like, it's a very quick end credit scene. It's like the Riddler's question mark comes up, and then it says goodbye. Uh, just I think kind of hinting to a sequel, but not anything concrete. But it was great. I didn't stick around for that. That's just what I heard. And I was like, if that's it, then I don't need to stick around. I'm just so used to Marvel telling me what to do. So that's fine. Super good. Robert Pattinson, I think, is such a good Batman. And I think this is probably the best Batman movie. I think people might get upset because of the runtime, but I think the pacing's really good. The darkness, the way Batman utilizes the shadows and his detective skills especially, I think, are really up to par. It felt very much like the comics, and even though this Batman is younger and a little more ruthless and full of vengeance than other Batman that we've seen, I think it was still a refreshing take. And the movie, spoiler, ends with him realizing, okay, I can't just be vengeance. That's a very light spoiler. I'll do like no spoilers and then spoilers at the end, I guess. But he sort of realizes that I can't just be like this angry person. I have to use what I'm doing as Batman for good. I can't be something that someone fears, or not that everyone fears. Because he can't just have the fear. He was sort of, sorry, I was scratching the computer. That was probably loud. Sorry. But he was using like the shadows to weaponize so people would fear him, but it sort of inspired bad people. So now he has to realize he has to do it for good and be less ruthless, because he does not pull his punches. And even though there was a scene that said that he did for a certain scenario, but I thought he was really good. I am looking forward to seeing more of Robert Pattinson's I don't know how to say his last name, sorry. I hope to see more of his interpretation of Bruce Wayne develop, because I think that was the only thing that I think was missing from the movie, because I really enjoyed seeing him as Batman and having like his little scenes with Alfred, but there wasn't enough of him like doing Bruce Wayne things. And I guess he is this sort of like recluse, like billionaire type guy, but I think now, especially also as his Batman begins to develop in this movie and will develop in the future, hopefully, his Bruce Wayne will also step up to the plate. Because there was a scene, I think that was in one of the two of the trailers, that had like the mayor candidate go up to him and be like, you really could be doing more as a philanthropist, because your parents did quite a bit, so you should as well. And I think that's something he'll have to take into consideration in the future. Possibly not run for mayor. I don't really want him to be Mayor Wayne like his dad tried to in this movie, but I think he still needs to be like that entrepreneurial, like good guy, and then like have a good relationship with the future DA, because the DA in this movie was not good. So, but all of Gotham's gonna get revamped by the end of this movie. That's all I'll say. The Catwoman in this movie, Zoe Kravitz, she's probably my favorite Catwoman. I think her storyline was really strong, and I think Zoe Kravitz's performance and like the slight flirtation that she has, and also like her kind of ferocity and her compassion for people, even though it doesn't come out a lot, like she has compassion for a couple people, but there is a lot of darkness in her, and you can see that and feel it as the movie develops. But she does have like her soft moments, which I think really made me very interested in her character going forward. Who else? Jeffrey Wright as James, Lieutenant, now possibly Commissioner. I don't know if he gets officially promoted at the end of the movie, but he's not commish yet, but he was phenomenal. He had such a presence, and he really is such a good Jim Gordon. I think he's superb. I can't wait to see him on screen again because he's going to be in the Batgirl movie that's developing. I don't remember the actress who's playing Batgirl, but it's exciting stuff. So I can't wait to see him again. I think he really just brought so much to the character. He brought, like, also a very compassionate, driven, good cop, and, like, going above and beyond in his duty, and, like, putting a lot of trust in Batman. And it was risky for him to do, but it pays off, and it's well respected. Like, Batman and Gordon, I think, had a good relationship, and that's good. And it's still so early on in Batman's career, so that was kind of surprising to see that there wasn't more, like, tugging. But I also appreciate that. Like, we don't get, like, the whole shooting scene with Batman as Bruce as a kid with his parents. We get told about it, and we see, like, aftermath of, like, what happened with Thomas, and a little bit of Martha's backstory, her being in Arkham, which is from, like, the Year One comic, which is great. I really enjoyed that. I kind of wish we saw it more than got told it. There was a lot of moments, or not a lot, there was a few moments in this movie where, like, maybe a flashback would have been good. Maybe it would have added more to the runtime, and so maybe it was better for, like, just characters to say things. But there was also a moment when Selena Kyle's talking, and I wish we got to see her mom as a call girl, Maria Kyle. But we never saw that, so that kind of bums me out. And also there was a scene that Falcone talked about, and that sounded like a really interesting scene that they could have shot, but they didn't. What else? Penguin, Colin Farrell, very good. He's kind of goofy, but that's sort of what Penguin's always been, but he's a little more, like, he doesn't have, like, the gravitas, like, Cobblepot sort of air to him. He's more of, like, a bumbling, accidental sidekick that wants to move up in the world. He, I think, has a good future ahead of him. I really liked his scenes. He was very good. Paul Dano as Riddler was scary, and impressingly so. Also, my boyfriend in the theater, he joked when he was in prison, he looked like Matt Reeves. And I can't unsee that now, so I'm sorry if I ruined that for you too. But I thought it was so funny. I would love to see Matt Reeves make like a parody of him in, like, the Arkham, like, jail stripes, and, like, just going off about how he created a robot to, like, electrocute people, and, like, I almost had it, Batman. Like, I just want, like, a whole dumb scene like that. It would have been great. But anyway, Paul Dano, very intimidating. He felt a lot more like a serial killer than like his stereotypical, like, kind of goofy Riddle version, that, like, with the green suit. Like, he wears green, but it's a very dark forest camo kind of green. And that makes a lot more sense with this really gritty, horrible Gotham, and with his whole backstory. And I just thought he was very intimidating. There's, like, the first scene that opens the movie where someone walks by and you just see him in the background. And I was like, oh shit. And then he goes and kills someone, as you've seen in the trailers. And it was really intimidating and ruthless. And I really enjoyed it. But then I also liked seeing his, like, kind of softer moments. I don't know if I'd say softer, but, like, when he was, like, more himself than, like, this Riddler persona that he, like, put on for the crimes he wanted to commit. And I look forward to seeing him again. He's not dead. I will say that. No spoilers. He's not dead. So he will be in a future movie, I hope, because I think Paul Dano did such a good job here. Who else? I don't know. I can't think of other. Oh, Andy Serkis needed to be in this movie more. There was not enough Alfred, and there's a reason for that. There's something I will go into in the spoilers, but I think I just needed a couple more scenes with him, especially because Alfred and this Batman in the movie aren't super close yet, but I feel like we still needed to have some sort of, like, parental figure, another monologue maybe from Alfred about Bruce's decision making. And, like, also I wanted a little more explanation about what's going on with Wayne Enterprises, like, or Wayne Tech, because there's, like, some pretty high fantasy, almost tech in this movie that Batman uses. And I don't understand where he's getting it from. I'm guessing it's like tech, but Bruce isn't out there in the world, so he's not involved with Wayne Enterprises. So I wish they kind of like threw a line in there. Maybe there was something and I missed it because I felt exhausted. I had to take an Advil after this movie. I was just so like consumed and like a gasp. I laughed. I was like, ooh, at quite a few moments in this movie. And I really appreciate some of like the horror aspects. Like, I think Matt Reeves directed this. Or not Matt Reeves. Hold on. Am I mixing up names now? Because I think the director... Hold on. I think I'm an idiot. Oh no. Hold on. Fuck. Where'd it go? Matt Reeves. Okay, he's the director. What's the name? Michael Reeves. Isn't it Michael Reeves on YouTube? That's what I was talking about. God, I ruined that whole bit because I said Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves is the director, and he directed Cloverfield, and I could see the horror elements here, and I think they were great, and I would love to see that going forward as well. I don't think there's any other characters I could talk about without going into spoilers. So, I think, just know, I gave this movie like a 9 out of 10. This is up there. This is a good movie. And again, the runtime might scare some people off, and some of like, I don't know, some of the like softer moments, quieter moments might turn people off in the movie, but I still think this movie was well balanced with action, with some funny moments, some actual scares, and tension, lots of good tension, and a little bit of the flirty with the cat and the bat. So yeah, okay, I think that's enough with the non-spoilers. Spoiler territory. The Riddler was just so unhinged, and they had this moment when he was in Gotham, Arkham, before he met the Joker, which was such a cute little cameo. But I thought, like, he, like, broke down because he's like, no, I am going to be remembered. I did all this so I would be remembered because I need to stand up for the orphans who weren't like you and rich and everyone to feel bad for. They need to feel bad for us who are in these orphanages and crowded bedrooms getting eaten by rats, dying in the winter, like, all that stuff. It got really dark. And I liked that moment where he, like, kind of broke character and he's like, no. He got up, he got mad. And I'm surprised there wasn't a guard there to, like, sit him down and be like, stop it. But I guess that's just Arkham. It's just very unhinged. And again, I kind of wish we leaned into Arkham more, especially because Martha Wayne is on Arkham. And they even explained, like, a bit about Martha and how her parents died. Her dad killed the mom, and then he killed himself, and then Martha was even at Arkham. But then we didn't see a lot of it. So I wish we kind of got to explore that more. I don't know enough about the comics to know if Thomas Wayne ever ran for mayor. But I thought that was an interesting choice because usually he's always just been like the philanthropist, like donating, helping. I don't know. I always thought like he helped out like the senators and mayors of Gotham. And I don't know, did more of like funding and like philanthropy and like galas to help bring awareness to like projects instead of actually like being a mayor. So I thought that was an interesting aspect to his character, and also the fact that he went to Falcone to get that reporter to shut up, but then also thought Falcone wouldn't resort to killing him. I thought was kind of silly. I'm like, Thomas, you're a doctor. You should have known better. And again, I would have liked that scene that I like alluded to earlier, where Falcone was like, I came to your father's doorstep bleeding, and he did surgery on the dining room table, and I saw you up there on the staircase looking down. And I was like, I would have loved to have seen that scene. And same thing with like Falcone strangling Maria Kyle and seeing like a younger Selena Kyle at the club looking at Falcone as a younger version and seeing him look at her sometimes. I don't know. What else? I really liked this movie. I was so worried they were going to kill Alfred because he touched that like explosive thing, which I thought was a little out of character, especially with all the news that's been going on and the fact that it said to Batman, the fact that he even like touched the package, because it even said for Bruce Wayne's eyes only. And yes, it's good that he looked at it instead of Bruce, because like Bruce would have died, and that would have been the end of Batman, and that would have been sad. But it's also like, Alfred, if you taught him military training and you knew about these bombs that had been happening and occurring because of the Riddler's actions, you would know. Don't touch it. Put it in a safe location. Like, don't... I'm so sad he got hurt. But they did have, like, a nice heart-to-heart at the end of it when he woke up. Though I was so sad for Alfred. Like, he woke up and he was like, oh, you're here, Bruce. That's great. And Bruce immediately just goes into laying into him like, you've lied to me this whole time. You told me my father was a good person, and he's not because he asked the Falcones to do shit. And it's like, you don't understand. Like, also, he just got woken up and stable from a horrible condition. What if he, like, immediately went into shock because his elevation in his heart spiked too much? Like, you could have killed Alfred, Brucey. You should have thought a little more. Also, I don't like that, like, Bruce hasn't been considering him, like, a father figure, or, like, I don't know. He seemed really cold to Alfred, and Alfred seemed, like, whatever, blasé about it, but, like, I liked that they held hands. That was nice, and I'm looking forward to seeing their development in their relationship, friendship, companionship, fathership. I don't know. They're great. I would love to see more of that. Something that I just learned was, like, kind of confirmed is that Zoe Kravitz on set, when she was doing scenes with, like, Annika, who's, like, the Russian girl that died by Falcone, who was her friend, who Batman was also investigating, she said during those scenes, and I thought it was an interesting choice, because she was like, Annika, baby, where are you? She said, like, she was like, I had the idea that Selena Kyle was bisexual, and I was like, that's really cool. I'm okay with that, because the way they were acting and the way, like, Annika was crying in her home and, like, she was touching her and being like, hey, it's gonna be okay, let me go, like, fix this, I'm gonna help you. And I know that's kind of from her year one storyline, but I don't know, I liked that she was a little bisexual. I think that added to her allure, and, like, she can almost enchant anyone at this point, you know? And just she's so charming. I really liked her. I thought she did a great job. I knew going in that she was Falcone's daughter, but my boyfriend didn't, and he was really surprised by that reveal. But I kind of knew, though I was very surprised because they kept showing us these on-set photos of Zoe Kravitz as Selena at the funeral scene. But then in the movie, when Bruce is, like, going up to Selena, like, who he thinks is Selena, it ends up being, like, a different girl. And it's funny because she has, like, the boots and all, and she has, like, the hat, and she's, like, a public daughter of Falcone, which I thought was interesting. I really liked Falcone's character. I thought he was cool. I wish he was a little more menacing, or I don't know. I think he needed to be a little tougher, but I guess it's too late because he's dead. Because everyone who was corrupt and was fucking with the renewal plan that Thomas started and then kind of died with him, everyone who, like, put their grubby hands on it to take advantage of this excess money that wasn't going to go to the orphanage that made Riddler become who he is now, is dead, I think, pretty much. There's all the corrupt cops, the DAs, the blah blah blahs. I thought it was great. But I really liked that actor, so I was kind of bummed that he died. And he also died by Riddler's hands, and I know Selena really wanted to kill him, and I know it's probably better that she didn't, so she doesn't have any blood on her hands, yada yada, even though she tried killing that other guy who revealed that Falcone was the rat. I also really liked the riddles in this movie. I thought they were not totally impossibly challenging, but still there was, like, there was good thinking to it. And I think, though I wish it kind of was alluded to that, like, Bruce was smart. I mean, obviously he has, like, the detective skills, and again, this isn't, like, an origin movie, so he's, like, been at the Batman game for 2 years now. But I kind of wish they showed, like, in his off time when he's just Bruce, like, I don't know, I almost wanted to see him, like, solving a crossword puzzle. Like, it seemed like Alfred knew more about deciphering ciphers than Bruce did, and I thought that was kind of cool. That Alfred had that background, like, he had this militaristic background that helped train Bruce, and I thought that was an interesting take that I would have liked to have seen explored more. Like, I know sometimes flashbacks can be annoying and take away from, like, current events in the movie, and, like, it adds to the runtime, obviously, showing it, but I feel like there were still moments that I needed things shown and not told to me through, like, news clippings and news station reports and monologues, you know what I mean? But I think with how much they had in this movie already, it does make sense. So that's probably why it's not a perfect movie, but it is my favorite Batman movie. I thought The stunt choreography was very good. The car chase scene was very good. Um, I will say my only complaint is that the sound mixing was a little loud when the Batmobile was revealed. Like, I had to, like, go like this and be like, I don't know if it's just my theater. My theater that I go to is always super loud. My boyfriend even brings, like, earplugs because it gets too loud sometimes. But there was also a scene, like, he was, like, severely injured on the ground. I forget what exactly led him, but he got tossed and turned and punched and thrown around a lot. And then suddenly he was on the ground in the rain. But somehow he gets from being on the ground, almost exposed to getting shot at, to then going into the Batmobile that he conveniently parked right there. And it's like, when did you do that? It's very cool, and it was a great reveal, and I love that car. I love that car so much. But just the way he got into the car, I thought was a little strange, if that makes sense to you. But I really liked the choreography. I really liked Selena Kyle's choreography. She was just so agile, like a cat. And she was just like a good... Because, like, Batman was very, like, sturdy and strong, even when he got, like, tossed. Like, he had, like, the moves, but, like, his outfit was heavy because he needed to take so many AK-47s to the chest and just kind of bounce off. Aside from this time, I think he got, like, sniped right to the chest where it hurt, and then he almost, like, got killed from that, and that would have been terrible. Oh, I should have mentioned a little bit of the... I was spoiled to the flood because of the trailers. I knew that was going to happen. But the way they revealed it and have it being like this last third arc big shebang was really cool. It was just disgusting too. Like, God, I don't understand how Gotham's gonna recover from that. But that whole scene in the arena was pretty cool. It was interesting to see sort of a Riddler with a following of, like, very passionate followers who would go up to the extreme of buying guns, getting the same outfit, and killing someone. And thankfully they did not kill the new elect mayor, but they got close and they almost killed Batman. And I don't know if it was obvious, but I don't know if the guy who was saying, like, I hate all these rich assholes at the funeral to Bruce Wayne before he knew it was Bruce Wayne was the guy who was like, I am vengeance. I think that was supposed to be the same actor. They didn't, like, flash back to the guy, but I assumed we were supposed to correlate them together, if that makes sense. But I liked that, like, Bruce in that moment had to realize, like, oh shit, my whole thing about being vengeance has inspired these people to do terrible fucking things. And again, even the Riddler was like, you and me are the same. I just wanted us to work together. We made such a good team. I liked that aspect too. But it's interesting because, like, there's so many villains who have said, like, oh, it's you and me, Batman. Like, Joker has done that. Bane has done that, I think. Ra's al Ghul. Or Ra's al Ghul, depending on how you pronounce it. But it seemed interesting for the Riddler to also have this, like, deep connection. I guess it's because they are supposed to be intellectual and also just, like, ruthless and kind of hate Gotham and want to, like, straighten it up how they want because he's a vigilante. But I don't know. I enjoyed it, though. I hope you guys did, too. I hope you please go check it out. I don't know. I think this video is long enough as is. So I'm not going to put my reaction to the last trailer I saw, which was the Bat and Cat. But I really enjoyed it. If you want me to post it, I will. Let me know. I have to edit it still. I've been very behind on shit. But I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for sticking around. Like and subscribe if you want me to do more review content. I sort of did this without a script. But I've had like over 24 hours to sit with this movie now. So I feel like I was able to sort of give my taste on, like, say my stuff on what I liked about it, but I might need to come up with something more structured in the future, if that makes sense. But yeah, I would like to do more review content and talk about shit because I find it interesting and I like to hear other people's ideas and have discussions. So yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully, sorry for not posting mostly in 2022. It's just, I don't know. Life is getting weird. There's a war and quarantine COVID is still a thing, but it's like lessening, so I'm also starting to go back into work more, but it's also making me very anxious. So as soon as I come home, I just want to, like, sleep. But I'll hopefully start posting again soon. But for now, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.